You ever reach a moment where something inside you just clicks? Not loudly. Not dramatic. Just a quiet shift. That was the day my daughter looked me straight in the eye and said, "You either do what my husband says, or you leave." And here's the crazy part. I didn't shout. I didn't argue. I didn't even blink. I smiled. Yeah. That kind of smile that scares people more than anger. Because when a calm man smiles at disrespect, it usually means he's done. And trust me, I was done. But let me take you back a little. That afternoon felt normal at first. Sunlight through the curtains. Dust floating in the air like nothing in the world was wrong. Grocery bags cutting into my hands. I had just come back from the store. Milk. Bread. Some fruit. And beer. Not even for me. For him. I walked in, expecting peace. Instead, I found him stretched out in my recliner. My chair. The one my late wife gave me years ago. Feet up. Beer in hand. Remote on his stomach like he owned the place. He didn't even look at me. Just said, "Grab me another one while you're up." Like I was the help. Like I was hired staff. For a second, I thought I misheard him. "Excuse me?" I asked. He rolled his eyes. "You heard me." That little tone. That little smirk. That was the moment something inside me shifted. But I still kept calm. "I just walked in," I said. "Let me put these groceries away." That's when he stood up. Slow. Slow on purpose. Trying to be intimidating. "You live under our roof," he said. "You contribute." Our roof. Our roof. Funny how people forget who paid for the roof when it's not their sweat in the walls. Then my daughter walked in. And instead of saying, "Don't talk to my father like that," she said, "Dad, just get it. It's not a big deal." Not a big deal. That sentence hurt more than anything else. You know why? Because it wasn't about the beer. It was about respect. And respect had quietly left that house a long time ago. Then came the sentence. The one that changed everything. Either you listen to my husband, or you leave. Just like that. No hesitation. No guilt. No shame. Just choose. And you know what? They expected me to break. They expected me to argue. They expected me to mumble and walk to the fridge like usual. But instead, I nodded. "All right," I said calmly. The husband smirked. Thought he won. "Good. Now about that beer." "I'll pack." His face changed. My daughter's face changed. They didn't expect that option. See, people get real confused when the quiet one stops tolerating nonsense. I walked to my room. No rush. No shaking. Just quiet steps. Every step felt like I was walking out of something much bigger than a house. I opened the closet. Pulled down my old suitcase. The same one my wife and I used years ago. Funny how memories fit into luggage so easily. I didn't pack everything. Just enough. 3 shirts. Some socks. My medications. My journal. A framed photo. That's it. Because when you finally realize your value, you stop trying to carry what doesn't carry you. As I rolled the suitcase down the hallway, I could hear them whispering. Panic. Confusion. Probably thinking, "He'll calm down." No. Not this time. I walked past them without saying goodbye. And that part, that silence, that hit them harder than any argument ever could. I started the car. Didn't look back. Not once. And that 30-minute drive. Man, that drive was heavy. Not with sadness. With clarity. You see, during that drive, numbers started replaying in my head. College tuition. Wedding bills. Mortgage payments. Groceries. Car insurance. Utilities. Every single month. Every single sacrifice. All the "it's okay, I'll handle it." All the "don't worry about it, sweetheart." All the overtime. All the cancelled plans. All the "maybe next year for me." And suddenly I thought, was that love? Or was that enabling? Because there's a difference. A big one. And sometimes you don't see it until you're sitting alone in a cheap motel room staring at a ceiling that doesn't know your history. That night, I didn't cry. I opened my laptop, logged into my bank account, and just stared at the numbers. You know what hurts? Not the money. It's realizing someone thought you'd never stop giving it, that they were so sure you'd always fold. But here's the thing they didn't understand. I had spent decades in finance. I know how systems work. I know how payments move. I know what happens when support disappears. And that night, I made a decision. No anger. No revenge. Just correction. Because sometimes the loudest lesson is silence followed by action. And a week later, I had 22 missed calls. But that was just the beginning. And what they didn't know yet was that I hadn't even started. If you think walking out was the bold move, wait till you see what I did next. The first thing I did wasn't dramatic. No threats. No speeches. Just a few clicks. And silence. Yeah, silence can be loud. Stay with me. I stopped the auto payments. All of them. Rent support. Utilities. Credit cards I was helping with. Insurance. Even the phone plan. You'd be surprised how fast life changes when the money stops. See, for years, I didn't give money. I managed it. I handled everything quietly so they could live loud. That's how enablers work, and I didn't even know I was one. Monday came. Then Tuesday. Nothing happened. I almost laughed. They always think you're bluffing at first. By Thursday, my phone started buzzing like a trapped insect. 1 call. Then 3. Then 6. Voicemails stacking up like unpaid bills. Funny how fast Dad turns into emergency. I didn't answer. Not because I was angry. Because I was curious. I wanted to see what happened when the safety net vanished. And oh boy, it didn't take long. The first voicemail was fake calm. Hey, just checking in. The electric company called. Probably a mistake. Mistake? Yeah, sure. The second voicemail had an edge. Did you change something? Because my card declined. Declined is a scary word when you're living above your truth. The third. That one cracked. What did you do? There it was. Not are you okay? Not where are you staying? Not did we hurt you? Just, what did you do? That's when I knew. They didn't miss me. They missed my wallet. And once you see that, you can't unsee it. By the weekend, things got ugly. I heard later from a neighbor that shouting spilled into the street. Doors slammed. Someone threw a chair. Yeah, real grown-up behavior. Bills were spread across the kitchen table like crime scene photos. Red letters. Late notices. Final warnings. Reality doesn't whisper. It knocks hard. And then, the truth slipped out. Not from them. From panic. The husband had debt. Big debt. The kind you hide. The kind you gamble away thinking the next win will save you. Spoiler alert, it never does. Cards maxed. Loans stacked. Money borrowed from places you don't borrow from unless you're desperate. And the whole time, they thought I was the emergency fund. Unlimited. Silent. Reliable. Until I wasn't. Sunday came. Church day. The day everyone pretends life is neat and forgiven. I almost didn't go. But something told me. Go. Not to confront. Just to observe. I sat in the back. Quiet. Invisible. That's when I saw her. My daughter. Shoulders slumped. Eyes tired. Face pale. Not angry. Scared. Really scared. And for a split second, my heart softened. Because no matter how old they get, that's still your kid. Yeah, parents feel that even when it hurts. Then something unexpected happened. She stood up, walked toward the front, and asked for the MIC. The room went quiet. That kind of quiet where everyone knows something's about to break. Her voice shook, but she didn't stop. She talked about pressure, about mistakes, about letting someone else think for her. And then, she said it. Not my name. Just, my father. She admitted she chose comfort over respect. That she stayed quiet when she should have spoken up. That she repeated lies because they were easier than truth. I didn't move. Didn't breathe. She said the debt wasn't mine. The chaos wasn't mine. The threats weren't mine. And then, I was wrong. No excuses. No but. Just wrong. That word hits different when it's real. And for the first time in a long time, I felt something lift. Not forgiveness. Not yet. But honesty. And that's where healing starts. The husband wasn't there. Didn't show. Didn't call. Didn't face anyone. And that told me everything. Because people who run from truth, they always run when the lights turn on. By Monday morning, he was gone. Truck packed before sunrise. No goodbye. No apology. Just a note. 3 lines. I can't fix this. I need a reset. A reset. That's a funny word for abandonment. But that's what cowards call it. She called me later that day. Voice small. He left. I didn't say I told you so. I didn't smile. I just said, I know. Silence sat between us. Then she whispered, I don't want you to fix anything. That sentence, that mattered. I just want to face it. And for the first time, she sounded like an adult, not a child asking to be rescued. That's when I knew. Walking away wasn't the lesson. Letting them feel the fall was. Because sometimes love isn't catching someone. Sometimes love is stepping back and letting gravity teach them. But what happened next? That changed everything for good. Because money was only the first thing I took back. Next, I took back my legacy. And trust me, that part shook everyone. People think money is power. It's not. Control is power. And once I stopped being controlled by guilt, everything shifted. Yeah, guilt is expensive. The house everyone thought was the inheritance. It was never promised, never signed over, never guaranteed, just assumed. And assumptions ruin families faster than lies. For years, I heard it. Someday this will be ours. When you're gone, we'll sell it. We'll split everything evenly. They talked about my house like I was already dead. Like I was furniture waiting to expire. Cold, right? Stay with me. That's when I realized something. They weren't planning a future with me. They were planning one without me. Big difference. Huge. So I made an appointment. Quietly. No announcement. No drama. Just paperwork. The lawyer's office smelled like coffee and old books. Funny thing. I wasn't nervous. I was clear. Crystal clear. Clarity feels different than anger. I changed everything. The will. The beneficiaries. The distribution. All of it. Not out of revenge. Out of responsibility. Because leaving money to someone who hasn't learned how to handle life? That's not love. That's sabotage. Here's the twist though. I didn't cut her out. No. I created a trust. Controlled release. Conditions. Milestones. Financial counseling required. Debt cleared first. No lump sums. No quick cash. Yeah. I wasn't about to fund another collapse. If she wanted stability, she'd earn it. Not through suffering. Through growth. Big difference. But I did remove one thing completely. The husband. Gone. Zero. Not a penny. Not a dime. Not even a lawn chair. Petty. Maybe. Necessary? Absolutely. Because here's the truth nobody likes to say. Marriage doesn't entitle you to someone else's lifetime of sacrifice. And I worked too hard to let it be drained by someone who gambled with everything but responsibility. Now here's where it gets real. Word got out. Not from me. From paperwork. Legal letters hit mailboxes. And when legal letters show up, panic follows. I got another call. This time, no attitude. No accusation. Just quiet. Did you change things? Yes. Long pause. Why? I didn't yell. Didn't preach. Didn't list her mistakes. I just said, because I want you to succeed without leaning on me. Silence again. Then something cracked in her voice. I never meant to use you. I believe her. I do. Because sometimes people don't mean to use you. They just get used to you. And comfort becomes dependency. Dependency becomes expectation. Expectation becomes entitlement. And entitlement? That's a slow poison. A week later she showed up. Not to argue. Not to beg. Just to sit. We sat at the kitchen table. The same table where birthday cakes were cut. The same table where homework happened. The same table where I paid bills quietly for years. Full circle. She looked around and said something that hit me harder than any insult ever could. I forgot this was your house. Not our house. Mine. That was growth. Awkward growth. Painful growth. But real. She told me about the debt. The real numbers. I didn't flinch. I didn't rescue. I asked one question. What's your plan? She didn't have one. And for the first time, she admitted that. That's when I slid a piece of paper across the table. Not a check. A list. Financial advisor contact. Therapist number. Budget outline template. Steps. Simple. Clear. Adult. If you follow this, I'll support you emotionally. Not financially. Emotionally. And that line. That changed everything. Because money can fix bills. But discipline fixes life. Now let me tell you about the ex-husband. Yeah. He tried to come back. Of course he did. They always circle back when the storm calms. But this time, there was no safety net waiting. No secret payments covering mistakes. No quiet father-in-law cleaning messes. He came knocking once. Just once. I opened the door. Calm. Steady. He started with excuses. Stress. Pressure. Misunderstanding. Blah blah blah. I raised one hand. Stopped him. You mistook access for ownership. That's all I said. He didn't have a reply. Because deep down, he knew. And people can argue with emotion. They can't argue with truth. Months passed. Slow. Steady. Hard. She moved into a smaller place. Sold what she didn't need. Cut subscriptions. Took a second job. I watched quietly. Not interfering. Just observing. And you know what? She didn't break. She didn't collapse. She adapted. Turns out, she was stronger than I gave her credit for. Maybe stronger than she gave herself credit for. One night she called. Not crying. Not panicking. Excited. I paid off one card. You would have thought she won the lottery. And honestly, in a way she did. Because that payment? That was self-earned pride. Not borrowed relief. Big difference. Huge. Now here's the part people don't expect. Our relationship got better. Stronger. Cleaner. Because when money left the middle, resentment left with it. We started talking again. Not about bills. Not about emergencies. About life. About fears. About mistakes. About accountability. Real conversations. Adult conversations. And one evening she said something that stuck with me. If you hadn't stopped helping, I would have never learned. That right there. That's the whole lesson. Sometimes help delays growth. Sometimes stepping back is stepping up. And sometimes love looks cold from the outside. But it's the warmest thing you can do. Now the house? Still mine. Still standing. Still quiet. But it feels different. Not like a future asset. Not like a bargaining chip. Just a home. And when I'm gone someday, what's left won't just be money. It'll be wisdom. Boundaries. Strength. Legacy. And trust me, that's worth more than any inheritance. You ever wait for something you pretend you don't need? Yeah, that was me. Stay with me. I told myself I didn't care about appreciation. That I did what I did because it was right. That fathers don't need thank yous. But deep down, I did. We all do, don't lie. Months passed. Bills got smaller. Stress got lighter. Her voice on the phone sounded stronger. Not rushed. Not desperate. Steady. Growth has a sound. You can hear it. One afternoon she asked if she could come by. No urgency. No drama. Just calm. That alone felt different. When she walked in, she didn't look like someone drowning anymore. She looked Grounded. There's a difference. Huge difference. We sat outside on the porch. Same chairs. Same view. Different energy. The wind was quiet. Birds doing their thing. Normal day. But something felt important. She didn't talk right away. Just looked around like she was seeing the place for the first time. Then she said it. I was mad at you. Straight up. No sugar coating. I thought you abandoned me. That stung. Even after everything. Because that's the fear parents carry. That doing the right thing might look like betrayal. Yeah, that part hurts. But she kept going. And then I realized, you didn't abandon me. Pause. You just stopped carrying me. Let that sink in. Stopped carrying. Not stopped loving. Stopped carrying. Big difference. Massive. She told me about the nights she wanted to call and beg. The time she stared at bills thinking, he'll fix this. And then remembered. I wouldn't. Not anymore. And that forced her to think. To plan. To act. Instead of waiting. She said something I'll never forget. You didn't rescue me. You respected me. Man. That hit deep. Because respect sometimes looks like distance. And distance sometimes looks like coldness. But it's not. It's belief. Belief that someone can stand on their own. Then it happened. No big speech. No dramatic music. Just simple. Thank you. Soft. Real. No ego. No pride. Just gratitude. And I didn't realize how heavy my chest had been until that moment. Because it lifted. Like someone finally removed a weight I didn't know I was still holding. Yeah, closure feels like that. I didn't say much. Didn't need to. I just nodded. Because sometimes words ruin good moments. Silence held it better. Here's what changed after that. I didn't see her as fragile anymore. And she didn't see me as a bank anymore. We were just two adults. Connected by blood. Not by dependency. And that's healthy. Now let me tell you something real. Boundaries don't break families. Lack of boundaries does. Overgiving builds resentment. Overtaking builds entitlement. But balance builds respect. And respect? That's the foundation of everything. She's still paying off debt. Still budgeting. Still learning. Life didn't magically turn perfect. But it turned honest. And honest is better than perfect. Every time. The ex? Gone. Last I heard, he's still resetting. People who run from responsibility usually keep running. That's not my burden anymore. And that freedom. Feels good. Real good. Now when she visits, we don't talk about money. We cook. We laugh. We argue about small stuff. Normal stuff. Healthy stuff. And every now and then, she'll say, I got this. And I believe her. Because she proved it. Here's the lesson nobody teaches you. If you keep solving someone's problems, they never learn how strong they are. And if you keep accepting someone's support without growth, you start losing respect for yourself. Love isn't about saving someone. It's about believing they can save themselves. Even if they hate you for it at first. Even if it's uncomfortable. Even if it's messy. Growth is messy. But it's worth it. So yeah. I lost my role as the silent fixer. And I gained something better. Mutual respect. And peace. Real peace. And that final sentence that changed everything? It wasn't just thank you. It was this. I'm proud of myself now. That's when I knew. I didn't lose a daughter. I raised an adult. And trust me, that's the real inheritance. You think the story ends when the lesson lands. It doesn't. That's just when the quiet thinking starts. Yeah, the hard part is always internal. After everything's settled. After the debt plans. After the thank you. I sat alone one night and asked myself something uncomfortable. Why did I let it go on for so long? Because here's the truth nobody talks about. Enabling doesn't start with them. It starts with you. And that hit me harder than any unpaid bill ever could. I used to say I was helping. But if I'm honest, part of me liked being needed. Yeah. I said it. Being the fixer made me feel important. Made me feel relevant. made me feel secure. If they needed me, they wouldn't leave me. That's the quiet fear older parents don't admit. Stay with me, this part matters. When your kids grow up, you lose your daily purpose. No more school runs. No more scraped knees. No more bedtime stories. So when they call asking for help, it feels like you still matter. Even if that help is unhealthy. Even if that help keeps them small. I had to admit something ugly. I wasn't just protecting her. I was protecting my identity. The strong one. The provider. The always there guy. And once I pulled the money away, I had to sit with myself. No emergencies. No hero moments. No late night rescues. Just silence. And silence exposes you. Yeah, silence is brutal. There were nights I questioned everything. Did I overreact? Did I push too hard? Did I break something permanent? Because even when you know you're right, love makes you doubt. That's normal. That's human. But then I noticed something. She wasn't calling in panic anymore. She wasn't asking for bailouts. She wasn't blaming anyone. She was handling things. Slowly. Messy. But handling them. And every time she solved something on her own, it chipped away at my doubt. Because growth is evidence. And evidence beats fear. Here's another truth. Sometimes we raise our kids strong. Then don't trust them to use that strength. That's wild when you think about it. I taught her values. Work ethic. Responsibility. But the second life tested her? I grabbed the wheel. That sends a message. It says, I don't believe you can handle this. Even if that's not what you mean. And that's not fair. One afternoon, she said something small that meant a lot. I like solving my own problems now. Simple sentence. Huge shift. That's when I realized. Confidence isn't given. It's built. And struggle is the gym. You don't get stronger by avoiding weight. You get stronger by lifting it. Even when it shakes you. Now let's talk about something else. Forgiveness. Because yeah, I forgave her. But I also had to forgive myself. For waiting too long. For staying silent too long. For avoiding confrontation because it felt easier. Boundaries delayed are boundaries violated. And I delayed mine for years. That's on me. Not her. Not him. Me. Ownership is uncomfortable. But it's powerful. There's peace in accountability. When you stop blaming, you start growing. And I didn't just want her to grow. I had to grow too. So I started doing things differently. Not just with her. With everyone. Friends. Family. Even co-workers. If something felt off, I spoke up. If something crossed a line, I addressed it. Calmly. Clearly. No explosions. No resentment stacking up. Just direct honesty. You'd be surprised how much drama dies when clarity shows up. And something interesting happened. People respected me more. Not less. Funny how that works. We think saying no pushes people away. But usually, it filters the right ones in. One evening she came over again. We were washing dishes. Nothing deep. Just normal life. And she said, almost casually, I don't think I would have left him if you kept paying. That hit. Because it's true. Comfort keeps people stuck. And sometimes support funds the wrong decision. That's a tough pill to swallow. But it's real. I didn't break her marriage. Truth did. Pressure did. Debt did. Reality did. All I did was remove the cushion. And without the cushion, the crack showed. That's not cruelty. That's exposure. Now here's something I haven't said yet. I sleep better now. Not because everything is perfect, but because everything is honest. There's no hidden transfers. No secret payments. No silent resentment. Just clear lines. Clear expectations. Clear respect. And peace loves clarity. Do I still help her? Yes. But differently. Advice. Perspective. Encouragement. Not rescue. And when she succeeds, I celebrate it harder than ever. Because now it's hers. Not borrowed. Earned. And earned wins feel different. You can see it in someone's posture. In their tone. In their walk. She walks taller now. And that's worth every uncomfortable moment we went through. Here's the real twist. I thought I was teaching her strength. But she taught me something too. Letting go isn't losing control. It's trusting what you built. And if what you built can't stand without you, then you didn't build it right. That realization changed me. Deeply. So yeah, the house was never the point. The money was never the point. Even the debt wasn't the point. The point was growth. On both sides. And growth doesn't knock politely. It kicks the door down. Every time. You ever get a phone call that makes your stomach drop before you even answer? Yeah, that kind. Stay with me. It was late. Too late for casual calls. Past midnight. House quiet. TV off. Just me and my thoughts. Phone lights up. Her name. And for a split second, all the old fear rushed back. Not the money fear. The parent fear. The something's wrong fear. I answered before it finished ringing. Hey. Silence. Breathing. Fast. Not crying. Not exactly. But shaken. And that's worse sometimes. Are you okay? I asked. Long pause. Then she said something I didn't expect. I didn't know who else to call. That sentence? That's heavy. Because it means trust. Not dependency. Trust. Big difference. She wasn't in debt trouble. Wasn't asking for money. Wasn't panicking about bills. It was something else. The ex had shown up again. Not at her house. At her job. Not violent. Not loud. Just present. Trying to talk. Trying to apologize. Trying to explain. You know how that goes. When people lose control, they try to reclaim access, even if they don't deserve it. She said she felt shaken. Not scared exactly. Just thrown off balance. Old memories. Old emotions. Old confusion. Because healing doesn't erase history. It just helps you handle it better. But sometimes the past knocks loud. And that night, it knocked. Now here's where everything could have gone backwards. Old version of me? I would have driven over. Confronted him. Threatened him. Played protector. But I didn't. Because this wasn't about control anymore. It was about strength. Her strength. So I asked one question. What do you want to do? Silence. Then she said something steady. I don't want him near my life. No hesitation. No confusion. Clear. That's growth. I didn't give orders. I didn't give speeches. I gave options. Restraining order. HR report. Legal advice. Documentation. Adult steps. Calm steps. And she said, okay. No drama. No emotional spiral. Just action. And in that moment, I wasn't rescuing her. I was backing her. There's a difference. Huge difference. Next day she filed a report at work. Documented everything. Spoke to a lawyer. Handled it. On her own. She updated me after. Not asking permission. Not asking approval. Just sharing. That's maturity. A week later he tried once more. And that time, she didn't answer. Didn't engage. Didn't explain. Nothing. Silence. And silence is powerful when it's intentional. He stopped after that. Because people who feed on reaction starve without it. That phone call changed something inside me. It showed me something clear. She didn't call me to fix it. She called me to stand with her. That's healthy attachment. Not dependency. Not control. Support. That's the balance. Later that month we had dinner. Nothing fancy. Just simple food. Simple conversation. And she said something quietly. I didn't feel small this time. That's when I realized. Strength isn't loud. It's calm. It's boundaries without yelling. It's walking away without explaining. It's saying no without guilt. And she had it. Fully. You know what hit me hardest? She didn't need me to scare him. She needed me to believe her. To trust her judgment. To treat her like an adult. And once I did, she stepped into it. Completely. That night after dinner, I sat alone again. Different kind of silence this time. Not heavy. Not questioning. Peaceful. Because the final test wasn't about money. It was about independence. And she passed. Here's the thing about growth. It's not one big moment. It's a series of choices. Small ones. Quiet ones. Consistent ones. And when someone keeps choosing strength, you start relaxing. As a parent. As a person. As a human. I used to think my job was to protect her from storms. Now I know better. My job was to teach her how to walk through them. And step back when she did. That's hard. Real hard. But necessary. And here's the real full circle moment. The same person who once said, "You'll always fix it," now says, "I've got it." And means it. That's legacy. Not money. Not property. Not inheritance. Strength. Confidence. Boundaries. Self-respect. That's what lasts. But I'll tell you something honest. There was still one conversation we hadn't had. One piece of truth we both avoided. About loneliness. About aging. About what happens when roles reverse. And when that conversation finally came, it changed everything again. Nobody prepares you for this part. Nobody warns you. One day you're the strong one. Next day, your hands shake opening a jar. Yeah, time humbles everybody. It didn't happen dramatically. No big accident. No hospital lights flashing. Just small things. Forgetting where I put my keys. Getting tired faster. Knees talking back every time I stood up. Vision not as sharp at night. Normal stuff. Aging stuff. But when you've been the rock your whole life, even normal weakness feels loud. I didn't tell her at first. Old habits. Handle it alone. Don't burden anyone. Stay strong. Funny how pride sticks around longer than youth. Stay with me. This part matters. One afternoon I was on a ladder changing a light bulb. Simple job. Done it 100 times. But my foot slipped. Not a big fall. Just enough to hit the floor harder than I expected. And laying there, staring at the ceiling, one thought hit me. What if no one knew? That's when it got real. Because independence feels good. Until it turns into isolation. I didn't tell her that day. But something shifted. A crack in the armor. And cracks let truth in. A week later she came by unannounced. Said she was in the area. I knew better. Kids always know more than you think. She looked around the house. Not judging. Observing. Same way I used to observe her when she was hiding stress. Full circle. She noticed the unopened mail. The step stool left out. The slight limp I thought I was hiding. And she didn't panic. Didn't lecture. Just asked gently, "Are you okay?" And for the first time in years, I didn't say I'm fine. I paused. And said, "I'm getting older." That's a hard sentence to say out loud. Feels like admitting defeat. But it's not. It's just reality. She sat down. Quiet. Then she said something that caught me off guard. "You let me grow. Let me do the same for you." Man, that one hit deep. Because roles were shifting. Not completely. But enough. And that scared me a little. Yeah, control issues don't disappear overnight. I didn't want to become dependent. Didn't want to be a burden. Didn't want her rearranging her life for mine. But she wasn't offering control. She was offering support. The healthy kind. Not rescue. Support. Big difference. She started small. Scheduled a doctor appointment. Fixed a loose railing. Helped organize paperwork. Nothing dramatic. Just steady. Respectful. She didn't treat me like I was fragile. She treated me like I was human. That matters. A lot. One evening we sat at the same kitchen table again. Different season. Different stage. And I said something I never thought I would. "I'm proud of you." Not for surviving debt. Not for handling the ex. But for becoming someone I could lean on. And she smiled. Not big. Not flashy. Just steady. Like she knew she earned that. Here's what I realized. Strength isn't about never needing help. It's about building relationships where help flows both ways. I carried her once. Now she steadies me sometimes. That's not weakness. That's family done right. There was a moment though, a quiet one, where fear crept in. What if I decline faster than I expect? What if I lose independence completely? What if she has to sacrifice too much? Those thoughts come at night. Aging is louder in the dark. But then I remember something. I didn't raise her to feel trapped. I raised her to choose. And she chooses to show up. Not out of guilt. Out of love. Huge difference. One day at the doctor's office, she filled out a form while I waited. Emergency contact. She wrote her name and slid the paper back without saying anything. But I saw it, and something about that moment felt sacred. Because once upon a time, I filled out her forms. Now she fills out mine. Life moves like that. Quietly. Steadily. No announcement. We had the hard conversation eventually. About future plans. About the house. About care. About what I want if things get serious. Not dramatic. Not morbid. Just honest. And honest conversations remove fear. Avoided conversations feed it. Remember that. I told her one clear thing. I don't want you to stop living your life for me. She answered without hesitation. I won't. And you wouldn't want me to. That's maturity. That's balance. That's love without chains. Now when she visits, she still laughs at my old school habits. Still teases me about not understanding new tech. Still rolls her eyes when I refuse to throw old stuff away. Normal. Healthy. Not heavy. And sometimes she brings groceries without making a big deal about it. Just leaves them on the counter. No announcement. No, look what I did. Just quiet care. And I let her. That was the hardest part. Letting her. Because here's the final lesson. At some point, if you're lucky, the child you raised becomes the adult who protects your dignity. Not by controlling you, but by respecting you. And if you did it right, they won't treat you like a burden. They'll treat you like a legacy. I used to think inheritance was about money. Then I thought it was about strength. Now I know better. Inheritance is relationship. It's mutual respect that survives mistakes. It's growth on both sides. It's knowing that when roles shift, love doesn't shrink. It deepens. And if you're wondering how this story ends, it doesn't. Not with a dramatic final scene. Not with tragedy. Not with fireworks. It ends with balance. With two adults who once struggled to understand each other, now standing on equal ground. Sometimes I support her. Sometimes she supports me. And neither of us feels small. That's the win. You spend most of your life thinking you're building security. Money. Property. Plans. Safety nets. But in the end, what remains isn't what you paid for. It's what you taught. Yeah, that's the real wealth. I'm not the fixer anymore. Not the silent bank account. Not the emergency hotline. And that used to scare me. Now, it frees me. Because I finally understand something simple. If someone only stands because you're holding them up, they were never standing. And if they rise after you step back, that strength was always inside them. They just needed space to find it. We don't talk about the past much anymore. Not the debt. Not the fights. Not the resentment. Not because we are avoiding it, but because it served its purpose. Pain isn't meant to be permanent. It's meant to teach. And once it teaches, you move forward. The house is still here. Same walls. Same porch. Same kitchen table. But it feels lighter. Not because the problems vanished, but because the pressure did. There's no silent expectations sitting in the corners. No unspoken contracts. Just visits. Conversations. Laughter. And quiet respect. I used to think being a good parent meant solving everything. Now I know better. Being a good parent sometimes means stepping aside. Letting them struggle. Letting them choose. Letting them fail. And trusting the foundation you gave them. That's hard. Real hard. But it works. And as for me, I'm not perfect. I still get stubborn. Still hold onto old habits. Still try to lift things I shouldn't. But I also allow help now. Without shame. Without ego. Because strength isn't refusing support. It's knowing when to accept it. If you're listening to this and you're the fixer in your family, let me tell you something. Helping isn't always healing. And rescuing isn't always loving. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do is nothing. Nothing but believe they can handle it. Even if they get mad. Even if they blame you. Even if they don't understand at first. Growth rarely feels good in the beginning, but it feels powerful in the end. And if you're the one who's been carried, let me tell you this. Dependence feels safe. But earning your stability? That changes how you walk, how you talk, how you see yourself. There's pride in solving your own mess. There's dignity in rebuilding. And no inheritance can replace that. One day, this house won't be mine. One day, roles will shift even more. That's life. But when that day comes, what I'll leave behind won't just be walls or paperwork. It'll be boundaries, self-respect, accountability, strength, and the understanding that love without limits becomes weakness, but love with boundaries becomes legacy. If I could go back, I wouldn't change the hard parts. They shaped us. The silence taught me. The distance strengthened her. The struggle matured both of us. Pain wasn't the enemy. Avoidance was. And once we stopped avoiding truth, everything changed. So yeah, I didn't lose my daughter. I didn't lose my role. I didn't lose control. I gained balance. And that's better. Much better. That's the story. No villains. No heroes. Just growth. And if you ask me what matters most now, it's simple. We don't need each other to survive anymore. We choose each other. And that choice? That's everything. For more, subscribe our channel.